official question. Have you ever been arrested? Okay. Interesting. No. I just would have thought otherwise. Okay. And have you ever lied? Well, I mean, I think you lied just a second ago. Personally. No? I'm pulling your leg, man, don't worry. Who is your hero? Interesting. I can definitely see why. It's a good one. Okay, next question. Have you ever gone commando? You know, decided to roam free a bit. Roam free. One day, perhaps, you just felt in the mood. I mean, I'm not judging. Okay. If you could spend one day with a person from history, who would it be and why? I mean, personally, I always think of the film A Midnight in Paris, or Midnight in Paris, where they meet famous historical figures. And I found that part of the movie fascinating. So go on, anybody. Cool. I think I would go for Freddie Mercury. Such an amazing musician, performer. I think he would have a lot of stories to tell. Next question. Are you part of the Mile High Club? Touched a sensitive subject there, did we? No shame if you are. Now, what's the scariest? The scariest experience you have ever had? Okay. Tell me more. That actually sounds terrifying. Terrifying. Right, we can make a movie out of that, that's for sure. For me, that's a hard question. I think when I was 5 years old, I was at the swimming pool with my parents on holiday, and my dad was teaching my twin to swim, and I had already learned, or thought I'd learned by this point, so I went plodding off my wee chubby legs, walking along the side of the pool, and I got to a certain part, and I thought I'll just jump in here, not realising how deep that part of the pool was, and my wee self almost drowned, had it not been for somebody to come in and save me. and I was pulled out from the pool. It wasn't a big commotion, and my parents were none the wiser. But it was scary, and I was quite embarrassed. Anyway, what is the sexiest name you can think of? Well, that is a good name. That is a good name. And what about the least?
The least sexy name.
I know, weird questions. Not me that writes these, don't worry. I'm just interested to know the answers. Okay? Next question. What is your love language? You know, your love language. Like, I think there's 5 love languages. For me, I like affection, touch, hugs. Some people like presents, like gifts.
Other people like spending quality time together.
That kind of thing. What's your love language? I wouldn't have guessed that about you. I think it's quite important to know, to be honest, especially if you're going to make a relationship work. Okay, yeah, maybe that's my hippie millennial self coming out, I don't know. Anyway, now the next question. A lot of my colleagues have asked this question,
and I'm very interested to also know the answer. So if you don't mind, please indulge me.
Toilet paper. Over or under? I mean, like, you know, front or back? Like I say, it was a colleague that wrote these questions, not me, but it's interesting to note. Okay. Now, supposing you could go back in time, would you take an invention and pass it off
as your own?
Yeah, like the film Yesterday, when the guy pretends that he wrote the Beatles' music. Yeah, be creative. No, you wouldn't. You definitely have morals, that's for sure. Most people would just
pluck a wee idea and pass it off as their own, and I wouldn't blame them.
Next question. Would you prefer to have a starter and a main, or a main and a dessert? Think carefully. Starter and a main.
Every time.
Don't worry, you'll learn. Now, if you were going to serve up a storum, cook up a storum, what dish is your speciality? Huh? I really enjoy eating that kind of food. FYI. Now, where is your favourite place on earth? If I could just lightly snap my fingers and transport you somewhere, where would you like to go? Scotland. Oh no. What films have you been watching? What books have you been reading?
I know I keep talking about films.
It's just the way this has gone, this interview, but watch Filth. Filth, yes, it's got James McAvoy in it. And you might change your view of Scotland.
No, I'm joking, it's amazing here. You need to come. You definitely need to come.
Okay. Would you ever go to space? Straight up with that answer, were you? I actually don't know if I would. It's something I have thought about genuinely. And I went scuba diving when I was in Australia. True story. And I thought I would love it because I am so passionate about swimming and I love the sea. So I thought, scuba diving would be
Right up my street.
But unfortunately, I felt so claustrophobic and I didn't expect that at all.
I know it's hard to comprehend if you're not claustrophobic because the ocean is so large.
So large. But I suppose it was the feeling of having pressure all around you. And I imagine that's what space might be like. I don't know. Anyway. Oh. Strange how we got into that one. Would you rather live underwater or in the sky? I mean, you know what my answer would be. Yes, we're talking like Little Mermaid or Hercules. Okay. So the next question,
Kinda similar
to the one we had before. Ish. If you could be a fly on the wall in any situation in history, what would it be? Any situation. It could be the signing of the Treaty of Versailles or
the moon landing.
back to space. Anything. Good one. Great one. Right, okay. Is there anything you did as a child
That you're ashamed of?
Okay, I know you're going to have to go back a lot of years for that one. Interesting. Thanks for sharing. Okay. This is quite important, the next one. Would you rather have hair as teeth or teeth as hair? Can you imagine? Or little shaggy teeth protruding from your scalp. I know it's a hard one. Yeah, I'd go with the the teeth is the hair too. Maybe could look kind of funky. But it would frustrate me not being able to chomp on my food with the hair as teeth. Into a wee bit of a serious realm. Do you struggle to open up to people? Yeah, I get that. I understand. Okay. Well, I appreciate you opening up to me today.
Jokes aside, I really do. I really appreciate it. Okay.
What makes you, you? Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I noticed that about you. And what's your favourite quality? Could be physical attribute or something to do with
Your character, anything.
I think for me it's like my ability to be motivated or motivate myself. I do appreciate that quality. It definitely got me through university. What's the closest thing
To real magic.
closest thing to real magic? Well, depending on where you're from, you might not have heard of him. But Darren Brown, he's a British magician.
Or hypnotist. And I genuinely think he's a magical being.
He is a magical being. Even though he tries to, well, he does, prove that magic isn't real. His ability to control people is truly magical. Do you believe in magic? That's not on here, by the way. I'm just curious.
A secret is that I do too.
Are these coincidences? When did you mess up? Okay, like proper screw up, but nobody knew it was you.
Like maybe Bob down the road got the blame, or Sandra at work, she got, the brunt of it.
And did you own up? That's your choice, isn't it? That's your prerogative. Okay. What's the dumbest way you've ever been
Injured.
My, that's pretty dumb. I mean, sounds like something that should go in the Darwin Awards. Right. Don't worry, we're getting through them. If you can change your name, what would you change it to and why? Good, that suits you.
That really does suit you.
What is the last thing on your Google search history.
Google search history, history, history.
I wouldn't be shouting about that. What do you think will finally break the internet? I'll tell you for one, your Google search history. We're not judging here. Tell me something that's under your bed
that you wouldn't want anybody to know that it is there.
Don't tell anybody. I've been prying, I've been probing.
So come on,
tell me, what's the most imaginative insult
you can come up with?
Pretend you're directing it at me, or
direct it at me, whatever you like.
whatever gets your creative juices flowing. It's imaginative and not exactly untrue. What seems like a good idea at the time,
But it really isn't.
apart from insulting me, because I'll be getting you back.
I'm joking.
Really, what seems like a good idea at the time, but in reality it isn't such a good idea. Yeah. What's the worst?
The worst smelling place you've ever been to. Worst smelling place.
Stinky. I'll tell you, for me. So, when I was at university, I went hitchhiking for charity across Europe, from Scotland to Berlin, and my hitchhiking buddy and I,
we took a bit of a detour through the south of France.
and we were one of the last teams to get to Berlin. Yeah, took us like 3 and a bit days. So that's 3, nearly 4 days of
No sleep, or very little sleep. No ability to wash.
we'd been eating whatever we could get our hands on. It was a very dire state of affairs. And when we arrived, we just were so exhausted. We shed off our clothes, did shower, went straight to sleep. And the team that came after us, they were even longer. Apparently they gagged at the smell coming from the room. Now I blame my buddy. I do blame my buddy. I mean, we'd had a shower, but it was apparently the clothes and the shoes that were particularly stinky. So, I don't know. I'm putting the blame on my good friend.
So who do you think was the real problem that day.
Watch yourself. Okay. What are you most passionate about? Anything. For me, chocolate. Now, every interviewer gets to ask this.
What's one assumption
You have about me? Go on. If you're still with me, pop it in the comments below. I'm interested to know. And have you listened to my music? Okay. And do you like it?
Are you a fan of melodic techno?
That's okay. It's not for everybody, because nobody listens to techno, according to Eminem. Okay. Have you ever been caught doing something
that you shouldn't be doing?
Oh. Okay. Oh, I feel sorry for you. Not in like condescending way, in a friendly way. Yeah, okay. When was the last time you were kept up?
All night. All night long.
Who said anything about that being a loaded question? I mean, for me, it's filming ASMR videos. A girl's got the graft, you know. Okay.
The penultimate question. The penultimate question.
What's the best piece of advice that you've ever received? I like that. Note that down. Highlight it. For me, I think it's enjoy your problems.
Didn't make much sense to me at the time when I was told to enjoy my problems, but
I soon learned what that backpacker on the Greyhound bus in Australia meant. I mean, I think it's more like
your problems are tough, but
looking back after you've been through the storm, you look back, maybe you'll look back at the problems with fondness after seeing how much you've grown, or
having hardships might allow you to appreciate the good.
might allow you to appreciate the good in your life.
That wee bit more.
Okay. And finally, what's the worst piece of advice you've ever received? Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. I think I would just cast it to the wind. I think the worst piece of advice I got was
to not make ASMR videos.
And if I listen to that really terrible piece of advice, well,
I wouldn't be spending time with you, would I?
Do what makes you happy and just go on with it. People, if they want to judge, they'll judge for a few minutes and then they'll forget and become wrapped up in their own lives once more. So try not to live with regret, just go for it. Now, okay, that was a bit deep. Let's just wrap it up. They're all recorded safe and